Hello everybody. Today we're going to be focusing on drawing noses. So the things we're going to need are a pencil. As usual, I'm just using a regular old Ticonderoga HB. A 2B would work as well. If you have multiple kinds of pencils for shading, grab some of those softer ones as well. But if you don't, just a regular pencil will work too. Some paper, any kind of paper will do. An eraser. If you have one on your tip of your pencil, that's great. If you have a fancy drawing eraser, that's good as well. And then a mirror. See, ooh, Miss Beth's Fancy Light. Super awesome. A mirror so that you can draw your own nose, or a photograph from a magazine or of a loved one, or whatever kind of nose you would like to draw today. I'm going to be working, obviously I have my mirror, so I'm going to be working with my own awesome, amazing nose. But yeah, so I also have glasses. If you have glasses and you can see well enough, like I'm nearsighted, so I can see close up. If you're nearsighted and wear glasses, I would go ahead and remove your glasses as well so that you can see your nose in all of its glory. All right, so where we start with noses, we're gonna start with just some generic shapes to start. So we're gonna, as usual with faces, we're gonna start with just drawing a smallish, and we're gonna draw this nose bigger than life, right? We're gonna start with a small circle. So if you notice, am I drawing super dark? No, I'm using a very light touch because we're going to be erasing these lines. These lines are only for us to use as a gauge for or as a grid to draw from. Sorry. Took me a minute to get those thoughts out there. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is the bridge of my nose. So I'm gonna come down and just draw, again, super, super light, these lines down to the circle, straight lines down to the sides of my circle. So the circle is the tip of your nose. I was gonna try to put my head underneath there, but it's not working very well. And actually I can see that my lines are actually way diagonaling off. So I'm gonna adjust those so they're straight up and down my paper, because my nose, it does not jaunt off to the side. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a horizontal line going right through our circle. And what's that for? That is so we can put in our nostrils. Okay, eventually that'll be the tops of our nostrils. Okay, now everybody's face, everybody's noses are different, right? So when you're working, actually that's not very parallel either, so we're going to adjust that again. Okay, that's better. Some people's nostrils are higher, some people's nostrils are lower. So what I would recommend is we'll start with the line in the middle, but if your noses are higher or lower, go ahead and lower them. What this really is placed here for, is so that your nostril, the tops of your nostrils, are even on each side. So they all both come up at the same distance. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is come in with the sides for our nostrils. So to do that, we actually draw an oval. That's how I always start, drawing an oval. And some people have bigger nostrils, some people have smaller nostrils. So again, drawing super light, or as light as you can, so that you can erase those lines. And now we're gonna actually start coming in and working with and adjusting it so that the shape of the nose is my nose versus just generic nose here. All right, so I actually have a pretty small pointy nose. My nostrils are not very big. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in and adjust because my nostrils are not that wide. Okay, and they actually, if we start at the top, so this round portion is at the tip of your nose, actually gives you some direction as far as what the top of your nostrils look like. So mine, again, come off that top and are kind of, they angle down. Okay, now my nostrils are a little lower. So I'm going to adjust my line so they are lower down, straight across, and I'm going to put a darker spot where like the top of it is, and then we're going to bring getting more of the shape of my nostrils in there. So I'm going to go ahead and erase those lines there. Okay, so we've got a much better understanding of my nose. All right, now the next thing is to start thinking about the bridge of your nose. So there's the point between your eyes, and since we don't have the eyes in here, we're gonna make an estimation here in between your eyebrows. And there's this kind of amazing triangle that happens. So we're gonna go ahead and bring that triangle in. And that'll also give you an idea whether you have, again, drawing lightly, we don't want it to be super, super dark, where our light and our shadow comes in. Extend that up a little bit. There we go. All right. So have that, again, that baseline of our nose. All right, so the next thing, for me, I'm sitting next to a sliding glass door. So I have a shadow. So what we want to do with a pretty strong shadow coming down the center of my nose. And what we want to do is not have these straight lines on either side of our nose, because that's not how it looks in front of us. That's how our brain wants you to say that's what the, you know, like that's what the shape of your nose is, but that's not actually what your eyes are showing you. So I'm going to come in and erase, first of all, the top portion of my nose here, of my circle on my nose. And then because I have that strong light source, I'm going to come in. You can see I'm using long light strokes and start to wrap that down the bridge of my nose. All right, so after this, I'm going to bring in my shadows. So the shadow is what starts to give the nose depth. Okay, we've got, so it gets darker around my nostrils here. And then lightens as it goes away. So remember what we talked about, not using our fingers, so I've got that line there. I'm gonna erase it. Not using a blending stick at this point. We're just using our pencils to try to start to bring some volume into our nose. I'm gonna come in a little darker here. We're trying to make that tip of the nose start to peek its way out. Okay, we've got, again, more shadow coming in. from the bottom, because remember, okay, lighter shadow over here, getting darker on the other side. We're trying to make it look like the tip of our nose is the closest thing to us. That's always the goal, right? So I'm really gonna come in here dark with, because this is the darkest point of my nostril. Not too far over. Come in with those shadows. The darkest point is always the tip, the point right under the very top of your nostril. And I can see my right nostril a little bit more than my left. Now remember too, we've got light reflecting up as well. So here, there's a little bit of light underneath your nose as well. You can see the divot here of my upper lip really well. So I'm going to come in and just give a hint of that so we know I'm not drawing the whole face today. And then I've got, again, these highlights, because light is reflecting off of my upper lip too, right? Always the key, especially with noses and especially with faces, is really paying attention to what's actually in front of you versus what your brain wants to tell you is in front of you. Okay, coming in again. Got a really dark shadow here for me on my cheek coming up. So I'm going to give some light over there, some darkness, some shadow. And then I've got a slight shadow that comes around here for my nostril. I've gone ahead and put my glasses back on because unfortunately my eyes are not as good as they used to be. All right, so again, just like on the other side, I've got this darker shadow that comes down because I have laugh lines. Laughing is key in my life, so I've got nice laugh lines that come around. And we're just building. So the key with anything with the face is we're just building a shadow, building light, adding in detail slowly. We don't ever, when you're drawing faces, we don't ever want to come in super dark to start, because that makes it really difficult for you to erase and make adjustments as you're observing and seeing what's in front of you. I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off again so I can kind of see what's happening up here. So the light comes, again, I have that strong light source coming up into the bridge of my nose here. And my eyes, and the brow of my eye starts to come off to the other side. So I'm going to add that little bit of that in there too, so we can get just an idea what happens at the bridge of the nose. And again, same thing over here. So I get that darker of my eyes. Blending it all in. So the harder you press with your pencil, the darker it gets. The lighter you press, the lighter it gets. So I've got a little wrinkle here in the middle of my and you keep adding those shadows. Okay. Until you are happy with what you get. So again, it's kind of like, I'm going to go in and erase these lines. So the key with noses is no sharp lines, lots of buildup of shadow, A good light source helps as well. I'm gonna come in and add a little, see, using that eraser to pick up the lead if you need to, it's always a good choice too. Got a little highlight over here to the one side. Need to come in and add some more shadow to the tip of that nose. This is darker down here. And I have a little, kind of a divot here too at the tip. You can see. And then the shadow comes up on the side. So it's all, like, again, as you will see when you are drawing your own nose, it's really a matter of looking and seeing and drawing what's in front of you. None of us have the same features, and those harsh lines that we first start with sometimes can make things flatten out and not seem right. All right, so keep working, keep building that shadow. You can go ahead and post some images if you'd like to in our classroom. I'd love to see what you guys are making and doing at home. All right, don't forget to erase those beginning lines that we started with. And there we have it. So we talked about lower nostrils versus upper nostrils. I'm going to come in with some more shadow here on this nostril. It's really just one line across. Pay attention to what you're seeing, not what you think you should see. And have fun, guys. It takes practice. Noses are not an easy thing to draw. See, I just came in and erased some of those harsher lines. Keep building. You can always go darker. It's harder to go lighter once you've gone darker. And have fun with this. I hope this was helpful for you today. We're gonna do lips next, and then we're gonna do a whole thing on drawing faces. We'll do a piece on drawing hair and all of that as well. I hope you guys have an amazing day. We'll see you again soon in our next video.